Hey guys, Liam Ottley here, and today I want to make a quick video breaking down the 3 most important questions that you need to ask before taking on any AI projects to your agency. Now these questions that myself and my team at Morningside have had to learn by trial and error, and this is what we've come to and continue to use to this day after coming up with it around a year ago, this time last year. And it continues to be the set of questions that we ask during our sales process, and also as soon as we get into the actual building of the project, that's the information that we need to collect. Very important to understand this if you're looking to build an AI agency and be successful in this space. So let's get into it. So 3 key questions. Starting off, these are things that we'll typically ask during our sales process initially, and this is really how myself and my team figure out what a project is about and what the goal is, who the end users are, and these 3 questions are really what allow us to connect all these pieces together. So the first thing up here is data. Now I know data isn't a question, but what data is this system or is this build going to be using or integrating? Because we're using LLMs and ChatGPT APIs, there's some kind of data that's going to be flowing through and hitting that API at some point, and we're going to be manipulating it, we're going to be doing something with it. It might be a custom knowledge chatbot, it might be an automation where we're passing some kind of data through it. We need to know what data they're going to be using in the system or what we're going to be manipulating with our AI tasks and with our functions. So first things first is data. What data are you using, or what data is going to be built into the system? Next we have inputs. So what are the expected inputs of the system? Whether that's an email classification system where it's going to have emails from XYZ inbox that are going to be moving through it, or typically in the form of chatbots and agents that you build, who's the end user of this? How are they actually going to be sending questions to it? What are they expecting to get out of it? This is really important to understand how this data is going to be used. And then finally, you may have guessed it, we have outputs. So with this, we get a nice little triangulation, which allows us to understand what this project is. And by triangulating these different parts, we understand what they're looking to build. Because if you know what data they're getting, they know what questions are being asked, and you know what they're trying to output, then you have a full picture of, okay, this is what the system is doing. I'm using AI or language models to convert this data, given this prompt, into this output. Now, this may look like in the form of, okay, I'm going to be using CSV, or I'm going to be using PDFs. Okay, well, what are in those PDFs? Is it diagrams? Is it going to be just all text? What is the content of the PDF and how big are they? All these kind of questions that you need to ask about the data that's going into the system. And then for the inputs, we'll just ask for a list. Give us a list of 5 to 10 expected inputs that the user or end user would end up giving to the system. Okay, great, we've got a list of those. Okay, now can we also get a list of outputs? And you may be starting to connect the dots here, because in my recent video on exploration milestones and cosine similarity, which I'll link up here somewhere, very important you watch that. And we weren't able to scale past $10,000 per month in my agency until we implemented those systems. And it's a new thing that we've had to invent for these AI agencies because of the nature of the technology we're working with. So if we get a list of inputs and a list of outputs, and then we know the data that we need to put in, we can then run some kind of test. Sorry, there's another triangle, but this is supposed to be the system that we put into it. It's flowing the wrong way, but you get the idea. We can put the inputs into this and test the outputs. So we use these questions at various stages of our client lifecycle. So in the discovery call, we'll ask these questions. What data is the system going to be using or manipulating? What are the expected inputs? What are some of the expected outputs that you want from that data given these inputs? We get the full picture. But then we can go into our exploration phase, which I've covered in the earlier video that I mentioned. And the exploration phase is a $800, $1,000, $2,000 milestone, and we've continued to increase the price over time, and you guys can too. But it's a quick milestone that allows us to say, okay, give us a sample of the data, give us some sample inputs, give us some sample outputs, let us mock up a quick system, a prototype of the system, because with LLM apps, it's usually fairly easy to get a prototype up, or at least a proof of concept that shows, okay, yes, we can achieve this, or we can get to close enough to the end result that we can be confident in the outputs or in the final result being there if we put in a bit of extra work. So we collect the data, we collect the inputs and outputs, and we run a little exploration milestone, and then we can actually do some cosine similarity testing. to determine if we're able to make this thing work. So yes, we've had on the discovery call, we've learned about it. Is this something like initially, is this a project that we're interested in taking on? Is this data too tricky? Is it CSV or is it PDFs with images in it? Is this data too tricky for the current technology? So if it's not, then we say, okay, sorry, we're not interested in that project. But if they get past step 1 and they become a client, okay, now we have this discovery milestone, which is step 2. Okay, we can do this little test. Does these inputs and the data, are we able to get a proof of concept or a prototype up? Okay, yes, we've moved through that. Okay, now we're into stage 3, which is the actual build, and we need to go through and flesh this thing out and really get down to this desired set of outputs. And we build these into the contract, as I mentioned in that video. So really important that you go and watch that. It will have been linked up there or down in the description as well. But this concept of these 3 questions that we ask to get a holistic idea of the project that we're taking on is not just limited to this stuff here. It's actually part of a broader issue and thorny part of running these AI agencies and building AI solutions to businesses, and that is expectation management. And this is something that continually will rear its head in your journey and continue to cause issues if you are not absolutely brutal on your attempts to squash it and shut it down and get yourself and your client on the exact same eye level of what this project and what the project will look like in its final form. So when it comes to expectation management, those 3 questions are so key, because initially you're going to be able to say yes or no, we can do the project. Great on the discovery call, sales call, whatever you want to call it. That gets you into the exploration phase when you can say, okay, now we're going to try to do a prototype, test this, see if we can get the kind of outputs we want using cosine similarity, check that they're similar enough, then we can move into the final project. But before you go any further, you need to really be careful about setting these expectations correctly, which is using the cosine similarity test. So that's one of the techniques we use, cosine. So a cosine similarity test during their exploration phase, and that's going to let them know, hey, these are the kind of outputs we can get from this exploration phase we did. You show them very, very clearly, and we do this at Morningside every time, do the exploration, get the proof of concept, get the prototype, generate a set of outputs, hop on a call with the client and say, are you happy with these outputs? Everything is based on language, everything is subjective, and they all have opinions and feelings. And again, you can't build a business based on the whims and feelings of your clients. You need to have something more solid than that, or you're going to be dead in the water. So cosine similarity test at the end of that exploration, showing that yes, we've met the input and output requirements to be similar, but also showing it to the client and getting feedback and saying, hey, what do you think of this? This is going to be what it looks like in the final version. Can you please confirm that this is what you're happy with? And that's what we're going to use based on the final contract is going to be the results like this. But more recently, and something I really want to introduce to you guys now, as myself and the team at Morningside have just started to experiment with it, but also mockups, where the client will see the end result in some kind of graphical mock-up of what the display will be like. Because yes, it's one thing to get the outputs, but oftentimes you'll send them back the outputs in something that doesn't look too flashy. It's like a bit rough around the edges because it's a prototype. And then they look at it and they go, oh, no, that's not what I wanted at all, because you hadn't manage the expectations of what it was going to look like. We're experimenting right now with sending over graphical mock-ups and doing a little design and sending that over to them and saying, hey, look, this is what it's going to look like. This is how the answers are going to be displayed within the window. This is what the overall UI of it on your website is going to look like, etc. So mock-ups and giving some kind of flash forward to the end product, not just in terms of the outputs, but also in terms of the optics and the visuals of what it's going to look like, is further going to help your expectation management so that you don't get to the end and the clients go, I'm not happy with this. So that's all I want to say in this video. Expectation management, the 3 questions. What data is the system going to use? What are the expected inputs and what are the expected outputs? With those 3, you can eyeball a project very, very clearly. That's all I use to survey or analyze a project before we take it on. But then when you get further down the sales lifecycle towards an exploration phase, cosine similarity testing, and even giving mock-ups just to really manage the expectations, show the client that this is what you're going to get, because unfortunately ChatGPT, OpenAI, they have such amazing AI experiences that they set the bar way up here. And us as AI agency owners, while we love ChatGPT, it is our worst enemy at times because it's such a good experience for people. And a lot of these early adopters that you have coming to your agency, they use ChatGPT heavily and they go, wow, this is really cool. I want something like this for my business. And then for you as an agency owner with one developer trying to replicate ChatGPT level polish is very difficult to do. So this is your saving grace. So that's all for the video, guys. If you've enjoyed, hit down below, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more AI business content teaching you how to succeed in the AI space. And yeah, if you're interested in seeing what the life of an AI agency owner is like here in Dubai, you can see my week in the life, which I filmed. That'll be just up here. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.